Question! Why is it that so many people are still debating over the idea of video games and whether they are art or not? That debate doesn't make any sense. Think about it for a second. Art or not, those are the only two choices? Ridiculous. I'm gonna tell you what the four choices are, art included. So if you come at me one more time with this video game debate, whether they're art or not, I'm gonna give you a fuck that! So video games can be a lot of different things. Number one, they can be a form of education. Video games are just another way to communicate information. If you want to get educated, you can do it through a video game. Though those video games don't make a lot of money, there are plenty of video games that are all about teaching you how to do math, teaching you history, teaching you science, teaching you all sorts of crazy scholastic bullshit that you want to know. Those games are out there. You can't claim that they're not. So number one is done, education. One of the rules that a video game can play in your life. Number two, communication. Video games are a way for people to interact with one another. And that all communication is interacting with somebody else. If you're playing Street Fighter with somebody, they're communicating to you their ideas of how to play Street Fighter, and likewise, you're communicating to them your ideas of how to play Street Fighter. It's an act of communication that people aren't conscious that they're doing, but trust me, I know it's working. Same goes for Modern Warfare 2, or any kind of game that you play online with a bunch of strangers. You are communicating with those strangers, and from there lies the thrill of the moment. You wouldn't be enjoying those games if it weren't for the fact that you were interacting with other human beings that were real human beings. That's why people don't play those games single player against the computer, and that's why they get bored if they do. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you, you son of a bitch? Because if you do, I'm going to move on to point three. The other thing that people enjoy about video games like Modern Warfare 2 and Street Fighter is a sense of competition, and competition is nothing more than the primal urge to be number one. And what's that? That's an animalistic instinct that we all have. Anything that appeals to our animalistic instincts is one thing: pornography. You heard me right. Just because it's not sexual doesn't mean it's not pornographic. If you were playing a video game that is all about hunting and gathering stuff for your house, guess what? You're playing a pornographic video game, my friend, because hunting and gathering is one of our primal instincts as animals. If you're playing a video game that's all about cooking a delicious feast, guess what? You're playing a pornographic video game, my friend, because eating a delicious feast is one of our primal instincts. We all want to eat a delicious feast. So do the bears, so do the wolverines, so do the anacondas. Any animal wants to do that, and we're no different. So video games can help us meet that need. A pornographic need to meet our primal, originating, repressed needs. That spells porn. Okay, moving on to point four, artism. You can play a video game that's as artistic as anything that you see in a museum. You can play a video game that communicates as many deep emotional ideas as any avant-garde film from the 1960s straight out of Italy. Federico Fellini had nothing on Shigeru Miyamoto, you son of a bastard of a bitch. I'm not kidding when I tell you that I felt feelings, serious feelings, from a video game. Metal Gear Solid 4 made me feel a feeling or two. Braid made me feel a feeling or three. Some other video games did too. Those are the big two that people talk about, so those are the ones that first came to mind. But trust me, and I'm being sincere, video games are for real. There's art there, there's porn there, there's education there, and there's the opportunity for communication there. And if you don't believe me, then you just don't get it. And if you don't get it, then why are you even talking about video games, Roger Ebert? Funk that!